Hi, folks. Thanks for stopping by. Recently, I reread the book How to Keep House While Drowning by Casey Davis, who is a licensed therapist, and I thought I'd share my thoughts about it with you all. First, it's not a book about cleaning exactly. Sure, there's tips in it, and I think some of those tips are great, but a large focus seems to be on separating cleanliness and the overwhelming guilt that often comes with it. The book itself is deeply compassionate. It understands that a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work for everyone, that not everyone can simply do the thing. I think compassion is so important in everyday life, especially with stuff like cleaning that's touted as a morality test. Often, people feel bad, like they're filthy when their homes are not perfect, Instagram-worthy spaces where the furniture all matches and not a single crumb or speck of dust pollutes the floor. People call themselves lazy and talk negatively about themselves, which only makes the guilt worse, but doesn't actually motivate them to clean. I'm sure we've all done it. I know I do. The minute I fail to do something, be it a chore or a hobby, I immediately launch into the, how could you screw this up? What's wrong with you? Why are you so lazy? And it spirals from there. But usually I don't end up doing the actual task. I just wallow in my misery and beat myself up further. Quote, when barriers to functioning make completing care tasks difficult, a person can experience an immense amount of shame. How can I be failing at something so simple? They think to themselves. The critical inner dialogue quickly forms a vicious cycle, paralyzing the person even further. They are unlikely to reach out for help with these tasks due to intense fear of judgment and rejection. As shame and isolation increase, mental health plummets, self-loathing sets in, and motivation vanishes. Casey Davis doesn't think laziness exists. Quote, you know what does exist? Executive dysfunction, procrastination, feeling overwhelmed, perfectionism, trauma, amotivation, chronic pain, energy fatigue, depression, lack of skills, lack of support, and differing priorities. ADHD, autism, depression, traumatic brain injury, and bipolar and anxiety disorders are just some of the conditions that affect executive function, making planning, time management, working memory, and organization more difficult, and tasks with multiple steps intimidating or boring. The reasons listed, among many others, can be a large part of why certain people struggle with their cleanliness, but the book doesn't judge or dismiss hindering factors in the day-to-day lives of the readers. It feels quite validating to have someone like this, to have someone give me not just advice but also reassurance. I feel like a lot of self-help books, about cleaning or otherwise, tend to lean towards positivity at every turn, with phrases like, we all have the same 24 hours, and admonishments about how your mindset just needs to change, without any acknowledgement of how difficult that can be for people with depression, or chronic illness, or other trauma. How to Keep House While Drowning feels sympathetic, but not condescending. The kindness to me feels like it comes from a genuine place that lowers my defensiveness surrounding my own lack of perfection and makes me more likely to actually start my tasks. Instead of chores, this book talks about care tasks, which feels to me a little bit gentler and less absolute. One of the first segments is about care tasks and why they can be so difficult. Things that seem simple, like cooking a meal or cleaning a house, can actually be broken up into smaller parts that are more detailed and more complicated. Sure, cooking is cooking, but you also have to budget, figure out what to make, balance nutritional needs or food sensitivities, do the shopping, handle everything related to the food prep and the cooking. That's a lot of little tasks, and for some people they add up very fast, especially if you have limited energy. The goal is to build a functional home, not a perfect one. If you're looking for something beautiful you can put on social media, this probably isn't the book for you. There's no rainbow ordering or Marie Kondo folding. This is a book with 3 words at its core: slow, quiet, gentle. The core message is that you deserve to be happy, healthy, and free of the constant negative self-talk, living in a space that serves you, not the other way around. Quote, how you relate to care tasks, whether you are clean or dirty, messy or tidy, organized or unorganized, has absolutely no bearing on whether or not you are a good enough person. Now, all of this isn't to say the book doesn't also give you tips and tricks. One of my favorites is in chapter 2, where we talk about setting our future selves up for success. Nice, gentle self-talk, like, wouldn't it be so nice for future me if I got up and did this task? Then future me won't have to take the time to do it. It's a kind reframing of the typical, ugh, I have to do X, Y, Z, my house is such a mess, which only brings more shame and discomfort, leading again to the negative self-talk spiral. Chapter 4 goes into the gentle tidying method, which I won't explain its entirety here, but I will say it changed how I feel about the often difficult situation an untidy room puts me in. I'm inclined toward overwhelm when I see a mess, but by dividing it up into the 5 easy steps, it seems less daunting. Breaking it up into easier bites does help me. I suffer from pretty bad executive dysfunction, which this book addresses. Some of the cleaning and tidying solutions are simply to work through what roadblocks are in your way and find a way to overcome them. Something that works for you specifically, not anyone else. Along with all of that comes motivation. Casey Davis talks about how even if you can't do the entirety of a task, doing it for 5 minutes, 3, even 1, is better than not doing it at all. Any little bit of progress counts and matters. That's a lesson I'm trying to impart upon myself, especially as I get older and find I have less and less energy. Chronic illness is a bitch, my friends. It steals your vitality, even when the symptoms are managed. Quote, one of the most common concerns I hear from those struggling with care tasks is, I want to get things done, but I just can't motivate myself to do it. Now, problems with motivation are valid, but I want you to consider if it's really motivation you're lacking. Motivation means a desire or drive to do something, and a recognition that you see those things as worth doing. If you don't understand why doing laundry matters, or you feel so awful you just think you don't deserve clean clothes, so what's the point? You are struggling to find motivation. If, however, you want clean clothes, you feel your life would be better with clean clothes, and you would like to be able to do the laundry you've been staring at for hours, but just can't seem to make yourself do, that's not a lack of motivation. That is a problem with task initiation. Take a deep breath here. You are not lazy. You just need help circumventing some barriers. One of the ideas I like to overcome these barriers is the shifting perspective from I have to do this to I'm going to do this. Then motivation comes while you're doing it. It helps me focus enough to do things like record, which I must admit I struggle with. The transition from work to recording can be extremely difficult for me, and perfection and self-doubt hold me back. Saying I'm going to record now helps me feel more intentional, gets me off the couch and into my office. Even if I still can't do the actual filming, I use one of our other tips, asking myself, how can I move towards getting this task accomplished? Well, if I don't want to record, I can write scripts, set up my camera and props to record tomorrow, or make background images for my audio-only videos. Everything gets me a tiny step closer to completion, so when I do feel able to record, everything is waiting for me. Setting future me up for success, see? The throwback. I highly recommend this book to anybody who's struggling and who feels alone and unmotivated. It's a great and compassionate, engaging read. I hope you try it out. Thanks for taking the time to listen. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you next time.